The original Sibyls, that's Sibyls, the first prophetess of Mami Wata, okay? Before there was a Jehovah, quote unquote, okay? There was Mami Isis, the dual goddess and god who dominated the entire ancient world. For more than 6,000 years, nearly all Africa was matriarchal. The dominant presence of African matriarchal or matriarchy, right, resulted not as a consequence of political, feminist, or military usurpation, but rather because it was the original, the natural divine order of African civilized world, right? When a patriarch saw how wealthy, how fruitful, how intelligent, how magical the Sibyls were, the black gods, okay, that black African women, and how they ran their matriarchal society through their jealous hatred and rebellion of her divine authority. The original minor deity Jehovah, as an insult to her, was created, and through that insult, marriage was created also, so that they could conquer and defeat the divine African mothers of ancient times. We're talking before ancient Kemet here now. Okay? They began crimes. They destroyed, they defiled the names in her temples. They murdered, they accused the prophetess and prophets of hearsay and witchcraft and disguised her sacred rites. Okay? They wanted to demean and destroy, become destructive. They wanted to demonize the black goddess, the black woman, the black mother, African mother. And they wanted to become better than her, creating wars against her. Sounds familiar? Began slaughtering the black goddesses, African goddesses. They began to slaughter, destroy, and kill, murder. Remember the Salem witch hunt? All of that is connected to the destruction of the African god, the African mothers, the Sibyls. They wanted to shut the mouths of the African women. They wanted to rip away her divinity, rip her away from her divinity, and the organized, divinely organized society in which she was the leader of. So I say much of this to say that marriage was created for the downfall of the woman, and it is a part of the organized patriarchal system to keep the woman suppressed and to destroy who she truly is. Now, what you should be asking yourself at this time is, do you want to be a part of the destruction of the African mothers, the originators of this here world? Or do you want to stand up for what's right Stand behind your African mothers. Because if it was not for them, there would be no us, no you, no me, no him, no she. And the fact that the African mother, the great mother, has given the world the African goddess, the African godmothers, right? For our benefit. But until we get back to the original way of life, until we get back to the divine order, there will always be destruction and chaos. Until the patriarchal, the society of patriarchs is destroyed, you will continue to see destruction all over the world. Because energetically, cosmically, this is what it is. The order has been discombobulated. The Black African woman has been disrespected, disregarded, mistreated, dismissed, treated like nothing. Until the world recognizes her, call her name, say her name, Ashe, we will continue to experience these scams, these illusions, these exploitations of our energy as divine feminines. We need to rise up and take back our power and recognize who we are and whose we are. We were never meant to submit to anybody. And I say that humbly, but with so much power and confidence in what I'm saying. We were never meant, because we are chaotic beings. You don't put chaotic energy under submission. You let that chaotic energy be chaotic and create and control and lead. That's what you do with that. And that divinity, you allow that divinity to be what it is. Marriage takes away from our ability to be who we are, because you find yourself trying to be something that you were never meant to be. Divine mother you are. You wonder why you feel so deprived and less than in your marriage. Statistically, it shows that more women live a stress-free life when they're not married. A longer stress-free life. So that should tell you something is not right with the setup when it comes to marriage in the patriarchal way. Something is off. We would even disown our own for the sake of being married and chose by a man. Just to say, my man, my man, my man. Your man doesn't even probably like you for real. Your man does not look at you and your divinity and sees you and just respect the fact that he's able to embrace your femininity and embrace who you are. A lot of times men be with women to just for their own selfish gain. Like you're an object. You're not an object. You were meant to object. You were meant to call things out. You were meant to rule things. We come from ancient gods. Warrior goddesses, warriors. African women are the only women in the world whose ancient mothers were not born under the yoke of patriarchy. Okay? For the first 6,000 years, This was during ancient times now. Africa was ruled by the powerful order of matriarchs. All right? And you wonder why Africa is in shambles today. Mm-hmm. Considering the current status of African women around the world today, one could hardly be convinced that her matriarchal presence and the enormous influence she wielded in the ancient world have far exceeded the limited physical, cultural, geographical, and political destinations of which Africa and her religions are confined today. During her reign, African religions had reached very high levels of theological and ritual development and were the original spiritual home of the world's first great oracles, yes, ma'am, prophetess, and prophets. Under the rising tide of African patriarchy, the sacerdotal order of Sibyls were sold as slaves to build and work the powerful oracles that established in ancient Greece, Rome, Turkey, and Babylon. What is now currently the holy seat of the Vatican in Italy was originally the sacerdotal seat of these ancient black Sibyl queen mothers. Centuries before Christ, they were known to heal the sick, restore dignity and strength to the weak, and restore sight to the blind. They were famous for curing lameness, okay, epileptics, deaf mutes, and lepers. They were said to cast out demons and even to raise up the dead. Their prophecies are the oldest and most authentic in the world. What is a Bible? Nothing to the great mothers. They were the basis for Greek and Roman tragedies and plays. More astonishing, their prophetic books were later collected by Rome authorities who needed a Western theological foundation in order to compete with the powerful Levitical Jews. These Sibyl prophecies soon became the sole and undisputed precursors to Western Christian Bible. As the first established sacerdotal African matriarchs, the Sibyl's cultural, and religious impact was arguably the most profound and ancient civilization that modern history was ever revealed or cared to admit. From Mesopotamia to Libya, Kemet, ancient Kemet in Egypt, Ionia, Manoah, Turkey, Greece, Rome, the Sibyls were the primary divine Vatican and absolute moral authority. The absence of African women contribution in the world today as a major economic, political, spiritual players, as opposed to expectations to the norm or mere appendages of great men, has been problematic and disturbing at best. For the first time ever, her history will be told. Okay, this was a reading from the Mama Zogby book, The Sibyls, the first prophetess of Mami Wata. Okay, the theft of African prophecy by the Catholic Church. I recommend all people get this, specifically African women, black women, melanated women, colored women, however you describe yourself. If you have tinted skin, okay, if you are black, you need to get this book and learn her story. Okay, scratch history. We done been told enough lies. You need to learn your story. Okay, and know who you are and whose you are. Okay, you come from the ancient mothers. There was none before her. Okay, she's the Alpha and the Omega. Okay, the beginning and the end. All right, we are the primordial beings. I hope that this message found you well. I hope that it resonated with you. If it did, please don't forget to leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Do whatever you want to do. You can stick around or not. It's up to you. Nothing's forced around here. Either way it go, I'm gonna come back with another video. And I'm gonna probably do a continuation of this because it needs to be talked about much, much more and much, much more.